Would you like to explore the action of the Med during World War II in more depth than ever before? Are you looking for a game that might be the best value in all of historical board gaming right now? Well, you've come to the right place. Today we're going to give you the battlefield basics for a terrific game by Invicta Games called Song for War Mediterranean Theater. Let's make it hot. Welcome to Board Game Nation. My name is Gary Blevins. Thank you so much for watching. And a special thank you to our friends at Invicta Games for sponsoring today's video. Some of our longtime viewers might have noticed that this is not our first video about Song for War. In March of 2023, Invicta Games launched a Kickstarter for an earlier iteration of this very game, and we made a short video about it. While they didn't raise the necessary funding that time, the community engagement and the player feedback were absolutely invaluable, and the guys at Invicta Games have taken full advantage of it. They are back with a new Kickstarter campaign and a new version of Song for War that's bigger and smaller and more in-depth and simpler. Let me explain. First, a quick disclaimer. While this is a sponsored video, the opinions expressed here are mine and mine alone. Spoiler, I think this game is fantastic. But let's go over the basics of the game first, and later I'll share what I think makes this game special and a few adjustments that I'm hoping to see before the final product is run. Now, a big chunk of the videos on our channel are focused on Axis and Allies, so to be clear, I'm not making any direct comparisons between the two games, but obviously my opinion is going to be influenced by my 30 years, man, it's been 30 years, of playing the different kinds of Axis and Allies games, just something to keep in mind. The new Song for War Mediterranean Theater is really three and a half games in one. That's two operation-level games, Italy and North Africa, as separate games, and then the huge Mediterranean theater-level game with two setup options. Oh, and all three games come in the same box with two boards that are double-sided and pieces that are used in each of the scenarios. So 3.5 games, all in one box, all for one price. I like it already. All four games use the same smooth, easy-to-learn base mechanics, but each scenario has very cool overlays that are specific to that part of the battle for the Mediterranean during World War II. The Italy operation-level game is focused on the entrenched German units trying to hold off the Allied powers of the US and the United Kingdom as they struggle for every inch of Italian territory. They will have to be extra careful. Battle-hardened German units are hidden throughout the country. An unsuspecting Allied force might find themselves in a bad way in a hurry. Plus, the Germans have fortifications. They can blow up bridges, and they can lay down mines. The Allies can win the day, but it will be no easy task. The Italy operation-level game plays in 3 to 4 hours and is a ton of fun. If you're looking for something a bit shorter, check out Invicta Games' completely new way of immersing players into the North Africa campaign. In this one, it's the Axis on the hunt, and they are pushing hard from Tripoli, but the massive German fleet remains hidden, cruising the Med, looking for the right time and place to strike. But they will need to maintain their supply lines if they hope to reach their goals. This engaging adventure plays in 2 to 3 hours. And if you want the big one, you can turn those boards over and put them together for the full Mediterranean theater game. Even here, this full-scale game offers players a choice of two very different scenarios. The first is 1943, just after the Americans have landed for Operation Torch. Here, during 3 to 5 hours of gameplay, the Allies will attempt to push across North Africa and engage in naval combat on their way to Malta and Italy. Or you can turn back the clock and start the game in November 1942 with the Allies struggling to maintain a foothold against a dominant Axis. This 1942 scenario plays in 4 to 7 hours and gives players a chance to completely reimagine the strategy for both sides in the entire theater. All in one box. Oh, and for even more historical flair, in the full Mediterranean theater game, all four powers have access to a deck of country-specific national support cards. These give each power the opportunity to introduce special units or abilities to the battle. Playing Germany and want to add Stuka dive bombers to your air wing? Here you go. You want to build more fortifications in the Italian territories? You got it. Americans want to start rolling out Sherman tanks? Roger that, here you go. Now, getting these national support cards into action requires players to spend national support points, and each power gets 2 of these NS points per turn. So everyone will be able to use a limited number of these cards over the course of a game, but no one power can run away in the specials department. Plus, each power has 17 different cards, making for an incredible number of possible variations every time you crack open the game. In the different games, various powers might have hidden fleets stalking the Med looking for the right moment to bring the pain. Now, these are tracked using these very cool dials. Do you want to know what's in your hidden fleet? Well, just look at your reference chart. In fact, these things are kind of the Ginsu knives of player aids. They are country specific with the complete setup for all 3 games and both scenarios, plus the details for all of the units, the steps for movement and combat, order of losses, and a quick hit with all of the units' various special abilities. This is definitely one of the best player aids I have ever seen. Enough about all that, let's talk about gameplay. Song for War is played in stages and phases. Phase 1 is the tactical phase, moving units, starting fights, taking control of stuff, etc. After the dust settles from all that, Phase 2 is the victory phase. Has anyone achieved the victory conditions? Phase 3 is where those national support cards are played, but those are only in the big Mediterranean theater game. And lastly, Phase 4 is resupply. That's it. Pretty straightforward. Now here's where it gets fun. Broadly speaking, it's kind of always everyone's turn. Everyone moves through these phases at the same time. So in the tactical phase, both teams alternate moving different unit types, getting into battles, capturing objectives, etc., all at the same time. The only thing that really changes from stage to stage is who's going to make the first move. It sounds chaotic, and it kind of is, but so's war. Now, one key element that I really like about this mechanic is that it allows for the constant coordination of attacks and defense between all of the powers. So it's not like one team has got to carry all the weight and wait for another team to show up. You're really moving at the same time. So basically what that really means is that there's no more finishing your turn and then going to make a sandwich while you wait half an hour for your next turn. Everyone is always right in the middle of the action. The tactical phase is the real core of this game. This phase is a series of alternating movements by the various unit types. Now, like in real war, some units move faster and some slower. Some are for lighter attacks and others rain devastation. To represent that in tabletop form, we have movement steps. Fighters and subs move first, and if they move into a hostile or contested zone, they will declare attacks. If that happens, everything in the zone is activated and gets to fire at any valid targets in the order shown on the battle steps. AA guns fire first, and then fighters on the attack and the defense, then defending light and heavy bombers get a shot, and on down the list, removing casualties for both sides along the way. With all the battles resolved that resulted from the movement in Step 1, we start Step 2. Here, the fighters can move again, along with all of the air units, sea transports, and destroyers. If they end up in a hostile zone or contested zone, we roll through the battle steps again. So in this game, it's not uncommon to have a combat triggered in the same zone 3 or 4 times, causing units to roll each time. This makes the battlefield incredibly fluid and dynamic. To account for the varying levels of firepower and defensive capabilities of the different units, Song for War uses 3 different colors of 12-sided dice: white, gray, and black. Players roll the different colored dice for different types of units depending on the unit's strength. White being the lightest damage and black being pretty devastating. This corresponds with the armor levels of the various units. Infantry and air units with white level armor, tanks with gray, and battleships with black. It's easier to take down a destroyer than a cruiser. Easier to take out an infantry than an artillery unit. So now cruisers might actually be worth the money. Of course, there's a lot more to this game, special abilities, transport rules, etc., but that should give you a pretty good idea of what this game is about. But if you want to see some examples and a full playthrough of the game, we've added links in the description and at the end of this video to some videos by our friends at Zilla Blitz, Board Game Rundown, and Shelfside. But now it's time to tell you what I think of this game. The first thing that hit me about this game was the product design. The colors on this map really pop. They're vibrant and easy to see. No trouble for my colorblind friends here. While Song for War doesn't come with the molded plastic minis that we see in a lot of other games in this space, I really like the double-sided wooden blocks. It's easy to see how many of the different unit types there are on the other side of the map at a glance. Also, not having to reach for the stacking chips every few seconds might not seem like much, but it really does speed up gameplay. So the board looks amazing. The player aid is absolutely top-notch. I mean, these are really, really quality components. The only thing that I'm hoping gets some attention before the final print run is the rulebook. Now, I totally understand why this would be a particularly difficult rulebook to write. They're trying to get the rule sets for 3 different games into one rulebook. Now, I like the overall graphic style with the sketches and the call-out boxes, but the font of the text is too small, and the background sometimes makes it hard to read. The overall flow of how the rules are laid out also needs to be rethought. Rather than having 3 caveats in every other paragraph, start by laying out the core mechanics of the game that apply to every version. How to play Song for War, the game. then explain the differences from each scenario and how they vary from that base mechanic. But the good news is that once you get the flow of the game, you rarely actually pick up the rulebook, which I take as a really strong sign of a well-designed game. Now, this is a beautiful game. Well, 3.5 games, with a really strong core mechanic. And the new Kickstarter campaign launched on April 23rd, 2025. But before that, and after I got familiar with all this game has to offer, I asked the Invicta Rex guys how much they plan to ask for the game, and I was a little nervous. I was thinking that this one box has 3 different, well thought out and engaging games. So when they told me their goal is to sell this game for around $80 US, I was pretty shocked. That's lower than most products in this category that only come with one game. When I asked them why so low, they told me that they're playing the long game. They're confident that when they get this game onto tables around the world, that they'll be able to come back with dozens of other games using the Song for War brand and mechanics. And I can definitely see a future for Song for War Pacific Theater with Midway or Iwo Jima, or Song for War Atlantic with the Battle of Britain or Dunkirk or even D-Day scenarios. Now, the Invicta Rex guys also told me that this price is only going to be good during the Kickstarter campaign. So at only $80-ish, I guess this is our chance to get into the beginning of what I'm sure is going to be a terrific franchise. I mean, $80, like, what's not to like about that? Oh, I didn't even have time to talk about the built-in tournament rules or the optional time limits. Oh well, I guess you'll have to get your own copy of Song for War Mediterranean Theater and see for yourself. You can do just that by following the link in the description. Now, if you're watching this on April 23rd, 2025, or shortly thereafter, the link will take you to their new Kickstarter campaign. If that campaign has already ended, the link will take you to the Invicta Rex Games website. We hope that you're ready to check out Song for War Mediterranean Theater. But if you need more information, here are the other reviews and playthrough videos with everything you need to know. Thank you again to our friends at Invicta Rex Games for sponsoring this video. My name is Gary Blevins. This is Board Game Nation. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.